Croeso power up to the Critic's Choice PSN sale. Hey, it may not be the best sale around, and a lot of the games are quite expensive, but I've looked through it and I found some really good games that are on really big discounts as well. So if you like finding cool new games to play, and saving a lot of money as well, then why not subscribe, and you won't miss out on any sale in the future. You're welcome here anytime. This sale ends on the 14th of February, so that'll be your last chance to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up, we have a legendary game, Final Fantasy VII. It was released in 2015, so it's 9 years old, although it's much older than that really, like an extra 20 to 30 years. And it's on a 60% discount for the price of £5.19, which is pretty good, and the cheapest I've ever seen it as well. And this edition is the PC version with the superior graphics and sound, and it also includes the Midgar PS4 theme as well, which is a nice little bonus for you. This JRPG is the most famous and legendary of all time. In Midgar City, you get to play a mercenary who is contracted to help conduct raids on the city's Mako energy reactors that are believed to be draining the very life force of the planet. Now let's just say things don't go the way you think it'll go, and chaos ensues, followed by an epic journey across an entire country. Now you'd think with the reputation this is the best game ever made, especially out of the Final Fantasy series, and these days I think that's debatable. Now what I will say is the story is phenomenal, and the scope and quality of this game for the time it's made was revolutionary and unrivaled. But these days games have come a long way, so if you're a big fan of modern features, and you don't like the old school JRPG elements, like the random battles and the turn-style combat, then this game may not be for you. But if you like RPGs with really good story, and you don't mind them being retro in their gameplay mechanics, this is a phenomenal game that's legendary for a reason. If you've played the remake and you haven't played this, do yourself a favour and play this, because they're messing around with the story in the remake, and my gut says it's going to go off the rails as it gets further down the sequels. But either way, you're probably better off experiencing this version first. So if you like RPGs and especially Final Fantasy, and you haven't played this for some reason, then what are you doing? Check it out. And hey, if you've never played a JRPG before, then this is definitely one of the best ever made. And if you haven't played it, and you're okay with old school gameplay mechanics, you should definitely check it out. It's legendary for a reason, it's well worth playing, why not take a look at it? And on a side note, there's a load of Final Fantasy games on sale right now. Final Fantasy 8, 9, 10, 12, Type 0, and Crystal Chronicles are all on the same discount as this game. So if you're not interested in this one, but you want one of the others, you might want to look at them instead. Our next game is For Honor Marching Fire Edition. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £7.99, which is pretty good. And this edition includes the Marching Fire expansion, with a new faction, and an arcade mode, and it even includes 4K 60fps graphics on PS5 as well, so that's great if you own a PS5. In this third-person action game, you get to fight as knights, vikings, samurai, and more as you storm castles and fortresses in massive battles and dual deadly bosses. It features an offline campaign and 8-player online multiplayer, although who knows how busy that is these days. But if you're into medieval sort of combat, then this is a really good game even if you just want to play the campaign. They don't make a lot of medieval combat games, there aren't Dark Souls these days, so if you're looking for a game like that, you don't have many options, and this is a pretty good one at a pretty good price. This game was pretty big when it came out, it was huge, and then it sort of tapered off. People didn't like it as much when it came out, and the online went a bit downhill. There was a load of updates and a bit of controversy with it as well. But hey, fundamentally, the gameplay's pretty good. It was just the online multiplayer and the hype around it that let it down a bit, but it's not fundamentally a bad game. So if you're into historical combat and you're looking for an action king, you should definitely take a look at this. It may not be the best, but it's by far not the worst either, so why not take a look at it if you like the sound of it? And hey, if you've never played a third-person action game before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. You can get other ones cheaper, and ones that are reviewed much better, and much more AAA than this as well. So if you like the sound of that, subscribe, and then you won't miss them in the next sale. Up next is my star by Lego City Undercover. It was released in 2017, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £4.79, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a fantastic deal for such a really cool game. In this open world game, you get to play as Chase McCain, a police officer who goes undercover to hunt down the notorious criminal Rex Fury and put an end to his citywide crime spree. It features 2-player local co-op, over 20 districts to explore, and hundreds of collectibles throughout the city. Now this is basically GTA Lego, which makes it a ton of fun and a lot more family friendly as well, especially with the co-op. If you've got friends or a kid that you want to play with, it's a great game to play with friends. It's offline only co-op, but that's fine. It means you don't have to pay for PS Plus if you want to play it with your mates. So if you're a big fan of action platformers and you like open world games like GTA, but you want something a bit more fun and family friendly, definitely check this out, especially if you've got a kid or a friend to play with, then you'll have a lot of fun with this game. It's got really good reviews, it's the Lego franchise which make really good games. Pretty much the only reason I wouldn't recommend this game is if you like your games with a lot of gore and adult themes, but other than that, it looks like an amazing game. I'm even tempted myself. So if you like the sound of it as much as I do, why not check it out? And hey, if you've never played an open world game before, then I would recommend starting here. It's a cheap game, it's a massive franchise, and it's fun for all of the family. You don't have a lot of games in this genre really, and a lot of them are pretty samey or made for adults, so this is a great game for people that aren't that old, or just want something that's really fun and not that serious. So if you like the sound of that, definitely take a look at it. You can't go far wrong. We have an FPS next. Metro Exodus Gold Edition. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the low price of £6.99, which is pretty good, as this edition includes the expansion pass with 2 full story expansions worth over £20. So you're getting the complete version of the game, with a lot of really good extra content included, which is really good. In this game, you flee in the shattered ruins of Moscow from the first 2 games as you embark on an epic story-driven adventure across the continents through a post-apocalyptic Russia full of enemies and mutants. It features stealth, survival elements, and exploration as well. Now in general, this series is a really good AAA series. The first 2 games you can pick up pretty cheap, and everybody loves them. They got really good reviews, and they've got a lot of fans. And this one's no different. It's the third one. The gameplay's a bit different because you're moving locations, but it's still a great game, built on a really good franchise, and just generally a lot of fun. I'd probably recommend starting at the beginning, but hey, if you've played the first 2, or you don't care, definitely take a look at this game. It's a really good first-person shooter that doesn't rely on online gameplay and gimmicks. It's old school with a story and just good old-fashioned gameplay. So if you like the sound of that as much as I do, definitely check this out. It's a really good game. And hey, if you've never played an FPS before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. Not because it's not good or because it's too expensive, but because it's the 3rd game in a trilogy, so you'd be better off starting with the first ones instead. And they're even cheaper than this when they're on sale as well, or even a different franchise. So if you like the sound of that, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll let you know when they're on sale next. Our next game is Sniper Elite version 2 Remastered. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, but it's older than that really, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it for non-PS Plus users, which is great, as this remaster includes all of the DLC with 4K graphics and HDR support added as well. So not only is it the full version of the game, it's the best version of the game with improved graphics and added features, which is great. This third-person shooter is set during World War II, as you play a sniper parachuting into Berlin during Germany's final stand, and your mission is to prevent their V2 rocket technology from falling into the wrong hands. And it features a photo mode, co-op gameplay, multiplayer, and new playable characters as well. So they've added even more extra content in, and it's really good to play with friends, which is great. It's nice to see co-op in games, not a lot have it these days, and it's a real shame because it's a great feature that many people don't get to play these days. Now, a great bonus of this game is it's from a huge franchise. They've made a lot of games with it now, and they're all really well reviewed, and people really like them. I've even picked up a couple myself because they're often on really good sales, and you can pick them up dirt cheap. So if you're a fan of World War II games, or action games, or shooting games, or sniping, then you should definitely take a look at this. There's not a lot of options for sniper games, and this is one of the best franchises around. You can't really go far wrong with it. These days, it's probably the best one you can pick up for sniping. So if you like the sound of that, definitely take a look at it. It's a really great game from a really great series. Check it out. And hey, if you've never played a third-person action game before, then I would definitely recommend starting here. It's a really good game from a really good series at a really good price, so there's not much to complain about really. If you're into World War II and you like shooters, especially sniping, why not take a look at it? You might find your new favourite game series. We have a multi-game bundle next, South Park The Stick of Truth and The Fractured Butthole. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, and they're on an 80% discount for the low price of £9.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal. These are both RPGs, and in the first game you must arm yourself with weapons of legend to defeat the underpants gnomes, hippies, and other evil as well. While in the second game, the darkness is spread across the land, and you must create a superhero and work with others to save South Park. Now, I will say the first game is censored, and the only way to play it uncensored is if you buy it on the PC, because all console versions censored it, which is just dumb. I mean, it's a South Park game. If you don't want South Park stuff on your console, don't allow a South Park game on there. But anyway, if you're okay with that, then you can buy it here, and it's a pretty good deal. Basically, if you're a fan of South Park and you like RPGs, you'll really like these games. But if you're not a fan of South Park and their humour, you won't like these games, even if you like RPGs. But hey, I love South Park, they're really funny, and they're really topical usually, which is pretty cool. So if you're a fan of South Park and you like RPGs, definitely check these out. They're very different and unique, and they're really good games as well. And hey, if you've never played an RPG before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. Not only are you getting 2 games, they're pretty expensive for 2 games as well. Not for what they are because of the franchise and the quality, but you can pick up RPGs really cheap these days, and there's tons of options. So you're probably better off starting with that, especially if you're not a fan of South Park. But hey, that's not a problem. Subscribe, and I'll let you know when more RPGs are on sale next. Up next we have Yakuza Like a Dragon Legendary Hero Edition, PS4 and PS5. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of $14.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal considering the price of this game, and the fact that this edition includes the job set, crafting mat set, management mode set, karaoke set, ultimate costume set, and a stat boost DLC as well. Which means you're getting the complete version of the game with a lot of extra content included, which is pretty cool. In this action RPG, after serving an 18-year sentence, Ichiban Kasuga, a low-ranking Yakuza, returns to freedom only to discover his clan has been destroyed by the man he respected the most. And now he must determine the truth behind his family's betrayal of his clan. And the game features 21 jobs to work, over 15 mini-games, 7 party members to recruit, object-based combat, over 100 combat skills, weapon and character upgrades, 50 optional side quests, and more as well. Now all of these games in the Yakuza franchise are well known for not only being really good games, but for having tons of content. They're basically an RPG GTA in Japan, which is as amazing as it sounds. Now the main series is a huge amount of games, so it's hard to get into them if you don't start at the beginning. But hey, this is a spin-off, so it's modern and good, and you don't have to worry about the other game stories, which is really great. So if you're a fan of action RPGs, and you want something set in a modern era, with really cool content and a load of minigames and extra things to do, you'll love this. Like I said, it's a blend of GTA and an RPG. So if you really like the sound of it as much as I do, why not take a look at this game? I'm sure you'll really enjoy it. And hey, if you've never played an action RPG before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. It's a really good game, but it's still a pretty expensive game right now, because it's not that old. You can pick up other ones cheaper, especially other franchises as well. And the mainline Yakuza games are also much cheaper than this as well, so you're probably better off starting there if you really like the look of this game. So don't forget to subscribe, and then you won't miss them when they all come on sale next. And the final game I have for you is Yakuza Zero. It was released in 2017, so it's 7 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the low price of £3.99, which is a really good deal for such a cool game. This open-world action-adventure game is set in the 80s, and it's a prequel to the other Yakuza games, and you get to follow the Yakuza on a simple debt collection that goes wrong, and your mark winds up dead, and now you must play as 2 characters, switching between the world of the Yakuza and a normal life of cabaret club ownership. It features a fighting system with 3 fighting styles that combine with the interactive environments and objects, with loads of mini-games, side quests, and other game modes as well. There's a huge amount of variety of this game, and a massive amount of content. Just like all of the other Yakuza games, it's a great value. I really like the look of these games, and I've been looking to get into them at some point, so I might pick this one up myself. I'm a big fan of GTA, but I don't like how much it relies on the online system now. I mean, the single player is just not as fun as it used to be. There used to be the amazing games you could play with a load of stuff to do. So I'm looking for something gangster related that I can play instead. And these have been on my radar for ages. So if you like the sound of them as much as I do, why not start here at the beginning with the prequel? It may not be the first game, but it's the start of the story. So why not check it out if you like the sound of it as much as I do? And hey, if you've never played an open world action adventure before, then why not start here? It's from an amazing series, and it's at a really good price as well, so you can't go far wrong really. As long as you like the idea of the game and the theme, why not check it out? You might find your new favourite series to play. And that's all of the games I've got for the Critic's Choice PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the star buy? Did it deserve it? Or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your comments or questions below, and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you guys found some cool games to play, but more importantly, I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vow.